So hello and welcome to the video. When I've not been making videos over these last few weeks, I've been thinking quite a lot about how I'm going to renew my BA Gold status when it expires next year. And this year there are a handful of considerations in play that you don't normally experience when considering these things, all arising from the you-know-what. So I thought I would make a video about my planning process and how I am looking at these various opportunities. Pricing also seems to be drifting up, driven by the uncertainty that's prevailing around the world, so I'll also share some of my thoughts on how I'm seeing pricing compared to previous years. And I'll also give you a glimpse of how I set about actually finding fares that I might want to take. I still have 9 months of my membership year to run, but as I look now, it doesn't seem that renewing is going to be as straightforward as it has been in previous years. Although having said that, there is one particular way in which renewal might actually be far more straightforward, provided I'm prepared to pay the price that's required. So if you'd like to hear what I'm currently thinking about and see what I've found, you'd better stick around. Hi, I'm Matt. I've lived in 5 countries on 4 continents. I've flown over 1.4 million miles. I've visited over 100 countries, every American state, but I'm nowhere near done. So subscribe and you might pick up some hacks, hints and tips to make your next trip better. A few parts of this video will go over territory I've previously covered in other videos. When that happens, I'll speed through pretty quickly, but I will provide a link to the video where I originally discussed it. Having said that, there is one topic which I have covered before, but it is so crucial that I am going to cover it again in a little bit of detail. And that is the oft misunderstood issue of BA Executive Club membership years. For reasons that are lost in the mists of BA's atrocious IT, everyone's membership year ends on one of 12 dates, the 8th of the month of your joining the club. My year ends on the 8th of August alongside about a 12th of all BA Executive Club members. It's odd, but insanity lies down the road of trying to understand BA and its IT, so it's something we just have to deal with. When you earn sufficient tier points to qualify for a higher level of membership within the club, that new level of membership prevails for the balance of your membership year and the entirety of the next one. So everyone earning status is getting it for a minimum of 1 year. But wait, there's more. At the end of your membership year, if you haven't earned enough tier points to re-qualify for that level of status, your status will prevail for another 2-ish months. So my current gold status will last until the 30th of September, even though my membership year ends on the 8th of August. This is called the grace period, during which I will continue to earn gold benefits for another 53 days, including priority check-ins, use of the first wing, bonus avios when flying, extra luggage. All of the benefits of gold will continue. A lot of people look at the BA Executive Club and think of it as having an annual cycle. But it's important to understand that if you time it right, you only need to worry about renewing your membership every 2 years. So with apologies for the detail, let me give you a very precise demonstration. So let's assume I earn all 1500 tier points I need to attain gold in 1 day on the 9th of August, the first day of my membership year. It's not possible to earn that many in a single day, but stick with me. Getting 1500 tier points on that first day of the membership year would give me gold status for the 364 remaining days of that year, plus the 365 days of the following year, all the way through to the 8th of August 2025. But I'd also be gold for the 53-day grace period through to the 30th of September 2025. So in total I would be gold for 784 days, which is well over 2 years. Now, if I earn my 1500th tier point on the 7th of August, i.e. the last day of my membership year, I would achieve that status for the 1 remaining day of that membership year, the 365 days of the following year, and the 53-day grace period. So a 2-day difference in when you qualify for gold makes a 363-day difference in how long that gold status will prevail. So getting gold status in the very, very early days of your new membership year is absolutely the way to go. you'll still get the benefits of your existing status while you are travelling, and you will extend that status for over 2 years. So the first unusual circumstance brought about by the you-know-what is that BA has temporarily reduced the qualification thresholds by 25%. That means to get to gold you only need 1,125 tier points. But BA has done a relatively poor job of explaining this, and surprise surprise their IT couldn't keep up, and the discount only runs until the 31st of December this year, 2022. That may make this ancient history for some of you watching this video down the road, but for those who are watching it in real time, here's how it actually works. Let's assume, like me, you have an August year end. That would mean that if you earned 1,125 tier points between the 9th of August and the 31st of December, you'll secure your gold. If you're short of 1,125 tier points by the end of December, you'll go back to needing the full 1,500 before the end of your year. And that 31st of December endpoint is fixed. It applies to all renewal years. So, I hear you shout, surely I have planned all of my travel to get it done before the end of December to take advantage of that discount. No. If I'd have done that, I would have double dipped 9 months of membership. I'm already gold until the end of September next year, so I would have been requalifying for status I already have. I'd be collecting 1,125 tier points, and I would be extending my status by 1 year until the 30th of September 2024. By waiting until August or September next year, I'll certainly need 375 more tier points to get gold, but I will get that status extended for an entire other year through to the end of September 2025. So that extra year of status is going to cost me 375 tier points, which is a very, very good deal. So I haven't even looked into how I might set about getting my status renewed before the end of this calendar year. It's just not a good idea. It might be a good idea if your year end is October, November or December, but for me in August, no thanks. So I'll need 1,500 tier points, and I will ideally get them in August and September next year. The second you-know-what related opportunity is that BA is running a double tier points promotion. This promotion runs, very conveniently for me, until the 30th of September 2023. Very briefly, if you book flights which take you away for 5 nights or more, and you add either a car or a hotel booking to those flights to turn it into a package, BA will double the tier points you earn on the flights. You don't need to pick up the car and you don't need to stay at the hotel, but you do need to add them to your booking to turn it into a holiday so that the double tier point promotion will be triggered. There's lots of small print, 2 bits of which I want to highlight, one of which is very, very positive, the other of which is a bit negative. The positive bit is that when you book a trip as a holiday, you only have to pay a deposit on booking, with the balance being due 7-ish weeks before travel. That's really handy if you are booking significantly in advance, as you have to pay in full up front if you're just booking flights. The downside though is that you have to book a holiday that starts in the United Kingdom. So you can't turn an ex-EU itinerary into a holiday and double up the tier points, unless BA makes a mistake and promises it to you on a Dublin booking, as happens to one of my patrons, a lucky so-and-so. So if you can find a trip that you want to turn into a holiday, you would only need to then earn 750 tier points, which would then be doubled to the 1,500 that you need for gold, which is obviously 375 tier points each way, which sounds fairly easy, but it's actually not that easy to construct a trip that generates that many tier points, and it's certainly not that cheap. For example, Manchester to London to New York to Los Angeles to Las Vegas would generate 360 tier points, which would double up to 1,440 tier points, almost enough for gold. I looked on ITA Matrix for that specific routing in August, and it came in at about £2,500 to £3,000. But that's just the flight on its own. When you add the car or the hotel, it's going to bump the price up further. I'm not going to talk in any detail about ITA Matrix in this video, but check this one out for my detailed review of that excellent bit of kit. I cross-referenced the cheapest fare I found to the BA Holidays website, and the cheapest 5-night stay I could find that utilised those flights, including a hotel, was a stay at the Luxor, which costs £2,883. Not perhaps the most luxurious of accommodation, although I actually quite like the Luxor. It's very quirky. The cheapest option, including a car, was actually more expensive, which surprised me because you'd still obviously need to find a hotel for the duration of your stay. So it looks like you could obtain just about enough tier points through the double tier points promotion to qualify as gold with a 5-night trip to Las Vegas, which would cost you just under £3,000. The BA website doesn't automatically offer you the exact flights that would deliver those 360 tier points, so you'd have to call to make the booking, but my experience is that you usually can finesse slightly more complicated itineraries as part of a holidays booking. I did look at a few other West Coast cities for 5-night hotel stays, but this was the best pricing that I can find, although I will admit my search was not exhaustive and you may be able to do a little better. So how much should you pay to get 1,500 tier points? Well, historically the rule of thumb was that £1.50 per tier point is a good price to aim for, so that would be £2,250 for 1,500 tier points, which makes that Las Vegas trip look quite expensive. But that's a historic value. The uncertainty and the inflation that the world is seeing at the moment may mean that £1.50 isn't a realistic price to hold on to in 2023. That Vegas option equates to almost £2 per tier point, and that may not end up being far off the new par value for a tier point. As I explained in this video, I paid a similar amount to get my gold status back in 2019, although I'll stress again I tied the collection of tier points into trips I was already planning to take and didn't set out to get gold status at the lowest possible cost. So is that double tier point offer actually a pretty good option? So let's look at some of the usual suspects you might consider for a tier point run. I'm going to use Google Flights here. I've talked about it before, but it's very simple, so I'll talk about it again here. So we want business class, and let's start with the old favourite of Sofia. The date section is quite irritating as it tends to reset when you change screens, so I click on the map and tinker with the dates when I get there. I'll pick sample dates spanning a weekend just after my year resets in August and reposition the map to show the US West Coast. I try to jiggle it to include Hawaii too, as there's another 200 tier points on offer if you can find a good fare that gets you all the way around to the Pacific. It's usually at this point that I remember that the default view shows all airlines and we're only interested in one world, so add that filter and you'll quickly see all the fares available to all the destinations from Sofia. Hover over the blue dots to see pricing for specific cities. Very little under £2,000 here, which isn't inspiring. £1,300 would be the sort of price I'd get excited about from Sofia, as it's a short haul plus route from London yielding 80 tier points for that first leg back to London. I'll come back to that a little later. So once you've got this screen configured, it's really quick to flick through the various short-haul plus airports to see what's available. You get to know the 3-letter airport codes pretty quickly. Bucharest is another historically good starting point, but £1,600 or £1,700 to the west coast is just not great. Budapest has jumped out as a good starting point in recent months, even though it's only a short-haul destination from London, which only yields 40 tier points for that first leg. Again, I'll come back to this. But 12 or 1,300 quid to the west coast is not terrible. 2 years ago you may have seen this for 1,100 quid or even less, so there is obviously some inflation still on this routing. And then I cycle through a few more. Athens isn't brilliant, Istanbul is very poor. Cairo used to be an interesting one when it was 140 tier points away from London. You could get almost all the way to 1,500 tier points with one trip to Hawaii, but BA relegated it to a short-haul plus route yielding only 80 tier points a couple of years ago, so it's far less attractive these days. Although just over £2,000 to Hawaii is not terrible. Fares from a country tend to be similar, so Paphos is unlikely to be much different to Larnaca, which can speed your search up as you only really need to try one city per country. I also tried Tenerife, which is an 80 tier point starting destination and was promising when I looked a week or two back. Hey, you get the idea. I'm not going to show any matrix workings in this video, but I did chase that Budapest fare through matrix and it did come back with the £1,300-ish fare that we saw on Google Flights. The fare did have a 6-month advance purchase clause, which is why you do need to start thinking about these things quite early. And it allowed 2 stops in Europe, let's say London and Madrid, as well as 2 stops in North America, let's say JFK and Los Angeles. So you should be able to stretch this to 400 tier points in each direction, which is 800 tier points in total, which for about 1,350 quid is £1.69 per tier point. Not the £1.50 we saw, but better than that Vegas option. If you can't quite squeeze in that extra Madrid leg, and it is difficult at the moment because schedules haven't returned exactly to where they were before the pandemic, you'd be looking at 720 tier points, which is £1.88 each. Getting closer to those Vegas prices, but don't forget the Vegas trip actually included a hotel. Budapest is a short-haul destination, so only 40 tier points away from London. If you started from a short-haul plus location like Sofia, which is 80 tier points away from London, you should be able to harvest 880 tier points in total. And if you found a fare around £1,600, that would be £1.80 per tier point. And if you could get all the way to Hawaii from Cairo, as we saw, for about £2,100, that would be 1,080 tier points at £1.95 each. And in both of those examples, I've assumed you can squeeze a second stop within Europe in, which, as I've said, is actually proving to be quite tricky. None of those trips would get you the 1,500 tier points you need for gold, and that's where that double tier point holiday promotion might help. If you could get a good fare from, say, Edinburgh to Sofia to position for the larger tier point run to the United States, and added a car or a hotel to make it a qualifying holiday, that would earn 120 tier points each way, which would double to 480 tier points, and it probably could be had at a relatively good pound per tier point rate. So hopefully you'll see that it is very easy to use Google Flights to keep an eye on these sorts of options for yourself. I'd also recommend keeping an eye on various online forums, the most notable of which is the BA Tier Point Run forum within Flyer Talk. I'll put a link to that in the description below. The US is a prime place to look for high yielding runs, as you're able to put a number of short sectors together. And on that same principle, you can often find relatively short journeys in the US that are well priced, but which allow you to add a couple of stopovers each way, which allows you to really crank those 40 tier point legs up. And finally, the best tier point run you used to be able to find anywhere in the world is not currently showing at an attractive price. Abu Dhabi to Colombo to Jakarta had 2 legs that were both just over 2,000 miles long, which meant you were getting 560 tier points for a return trip, and those flights could often be found for around £600. That's only a little bit over £1 per tier point, which is really excellent. Fares next August are currently showing at £1,251, which is a pretty awful £2.25 per tier point. But perhaps oddly, those fares get cheaper the closer to you look at flying. So next March, fares are available for £857. Still £1.53 a tier point, which is not brilliant, but it is certainly going in the right direction. So there you go. Quite a lot in this video, but I hope at least some of it was relevant for you. Things are clearly and emphatically not yet back to normal. So sitting here today, I honestly don't know what I am going to do. Nothing obvious or outstanding has leapt out at me because pricing is still quite high. And it seems to be pretty clear that prices are high both because jet fuel is high because of the global inflation, but also because airlines are still pricing in an uncertainty premium given everything that is going on around the world. So I'll keep looking, but it may be that I pass on picking a 6-month advanced purchase fare, which has always been the best way to get the best price in previous years. By doing so, I guess I'm hoping that things stabilise and prices come down as I get closer to that renewal travel window. Hope is not a strategy, but £3,000 is quite a lot of money. And I'm starting to think about not renewing at all. If I don't renew my gold, I'll soft land to silver, which still brings lounge access, which still will greatly enhance the travelling experience. And as I now have this YouTube channel, I'm less and less likely to want to focus my travel on BA and its partners in the way that I may have done in previous years. I could take a lot of very interesting flights and make a lot of very interesting videos if that £3,000 was in my pocket rather than in BA's. So thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a like if you did, subscribe if you're new. There's quite a lot of this sort of stuff in the back catalogue on the channel if you found it interesting. And leave me a comment, have you firmed up any renewal plans you might have for next year, or are you letting things run to see where pricing settles? And if you'd like to support what I'm doing more directly, I have a Patreon account, the link to which is in the description below. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.